Hello everyone and welcome to this Dead by Daylight news video where they have just released their Q&A for the brand new matchmaking system. So I figured I'll go over this with you guys and just give you an update and go over it with you. I already said that, but we're moving on. So, first question or whatever, I know you're looking at skill across different killers, but are you looking at skill across different survivors too? Even though survivors are just skins, we still have to grind for open perk slots, which, for a less experienced survivor like myself, that's a big deal. Honestly, if you're good enough survivor at the game, you don't need perks to be good, they just kinda help you be better. But their answer is, generally speaking, the performance difference between a low-level survivor, as in the character level is low, so they're talking about level, not skill, and a high-level survivor for a given player isn't statistically extreme. I would agree with this. It also changes very quickly. Relatively speaking, it doesn't take that many games for a low-level survivor to get to a reasonable level. To complicate it further, it can even happen over 0 games if you got the BP from some other means, for example, playing killer. All that said, we're going to keep an eye on this and see if it plays out differently in reality and potentially modify the system to take this into account. Now, I want to emphasize the fact here, they're talking about, like, your actual level. They're not talking about skill at all. And for Survivor, I think it should not be different because Survivors are just skins. And if you're good enough at the game, or if you get good at the game, you can play well enough without needing specific perks. But if you crutch on those perks all the time, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to adjust on another Survivor. Now, that being said, just play your normal Survivor, guys. Play your normal Survivor, get the blood points, spend it in the other Survivor you want to play, and you'll be good to go, and you'll be able to play that Survivor in no time. So just play your main character until you get what you want on the other characters. It's not that complicated. Okay, next question. Can we get a little insight into how Swift matchups will be balanced in the new system? So currently Swift groups will calculate an average rating of the players in the group, and then the matchmaking system will attempt to find an opponent based off that average. Basically the same way how it kind of worked before. We will be monitoring this and the results it gives in real world, and may tweak the formula to produce better results if we identify any problems. Here, let me zoom in quick. I totally forgot to zoom in. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, this is basically how they always have calculated Swift matchups. So no changes. Next question. How's it gonna be fair to those that are new as a survivor? I feel bad for them. We're specifically monitoring the experience of new players to ensure the system doesn't immediately throw them games where they are hopelessly outmatched. And we have a few techniques that we are implementing already to help with this. Lots of technical/mathematic details, but the basic effect will be that new players tend to get matched at a lower skill rating while they're still new. Now, it makes sense that they say this, but in practice, I don't know how true this is because I've heard and seen myself of either high-ranked skilled survivors getting paired with a rank 20 noob killer, and also the other way around where maybe you have like 2 or 3 noobish survivors with one really skilled survivor against a really skilled killer, so I'm not sure if it's working the way they want. Okay, so after reading this post, why aren't the current ranks not weighted in the starting skill rating for the player base? Basically saying, if I'm a rank 1, shouldn't I have more skill rating starting out than a rank 20? And their answer is, we've already been running the skill-based rating calculation in the background for several months, in order to collect data and to validate some elements of our approach. Anyone who has been playing regularly in that time will already have a loosely calibrated skill rating to start with, which will be refined with each game they play now that the system is live. So this gives us a lot of clarity on the new matchmaking system, because I thought everyone was starting at 0. Basically, everyone's starting from the bottom, you play games, and then you kind of level out to where you're supposed to be. But this shows us that that's not the case, that everyone already has a skill rating, and they actually have had this in the works for several months. Which begs the question, if this skill rating has already been in the works for so long, why are so many matches not going the way they're supposed to go? And what I mean by this is experienced killers getting noob survivors and noob killers getting experienced survivors, or say one experienced survivor or two experienced survivors with two noob survivors and a noob killer, or two experienced survivors, two noob survivors, and a experienced killer. Now, if the skill rating was in place like they said, shouldn't our matches not be this diverse, where we're getting noobs paired with experienced players? Now, hopefully they can work out the tweaks in the system, but I know a lot of you out there know what I'm talking about because you have expressed your concerns in the comments of my previous videos of the new matchmaking system and how it is not really working as intended. Who knows what's gonna happen, but things are definitely not playing out the way everyone would like it to. Okay, next question. Is it taken into consideration if players have returned from the game after a long hiatus? Some examples are people returning after a year or even 2 years. Without getting into extreme mathematical detail, yes, the system does take how long it has been since you last played into account with the rating system. Hopefully that means your skill rating does not go down over time, or maybe it does mean that your skill rating does go down over time, saying, hey, you haven't played the game in a while, so you're probably rusty. But you won't start at 0 rating. Okay, next question, why are ranks so mismatched now? The matchmaking news post we made went into detail about this. To summarize, ranks are mostly a measure of how much you play in a given month and does not give a very good correlation with game skill, and skill rating is completely driven by how skilled you are at the game, so there will be some divergence between the two. The rank system will be getting updated soon, TM, to reflect this difference. So basically ranks don't matter, so it doesn't matter if you're rank 1 paired with rank 15 or you're getting green or purple or super rank diversity. Ranks don't matter anymore. It's this new MMR system. Okay, why are we keeping the skill rating hidden? So for every player who gets really excited at the prospect of seeing their skill rating, there is another player who dreads it. For now, to encourage everyone to play the game the best they can, we are keeping the skill rating hidden. We have plans to expose it somewhat in the future, but nothing to announce at this time. So basically, they know that there's a lot of people that want to see it, but there's also a lot of people that would be discouraged because they're low skill level, because they think they don't have that much skill in the game, and so they start feeling bad about themselves, and then they don't want to play the game because their skill rating is low. When skill rating doesn't really matter, it's just how it matches you. And from how games have been playing out, skill rating does not really matter at all. Okay, next question. What will it mean to ranks in the tally screen? Right now, the emblem system / rank system is being left as is. We wanted to get the skill rating system out and in players' hands as quickly as possible. The rank system will be getting updated soon, TM. Next question. So this is basically the same question as before with regards to ranks. I mean, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. It's just the rank system is still going to be there, but it's not going to mean anything. So it's basically like a void system. Okay, is the rating started counting now? And that's kind of weird. Or already set from past performance. Didn't they already say this? Ratings are initially based on your performance over the last few months, while the system has been collecting data in the background. They're just answering the same question twice here. What are the factors that affect the ratings? Rating changes based on how you perform in a match, while taking your opponent's rating into account. If you outplay an opponent who has a much higher rating than yours, then your rating will be adjusted quite a bit. If you outplay an opponent who has a lower rating than yours, the adjustment is quite small. So, I mean, this is how other rank systems work. If you outplay someone that is highly skilled or highly rated, you get more rating than if you outplay someone that sucks at the game. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really tell us how rating rates you. Like, that's just one of the most basic answers ever. Okay, other, not related to MMR. Does this mean that those with different nat types that weren't able to play together before unless they had a connection with the lobby leader can now play together? The skill rating has no direct relation to nat, and network connectivity, as it is used to determine who matches together. As long as your NAT type allows you to connect to the dedicated server, you should be fine to play with anyone else who can also connect to the dedicated server, of course. Since we are now using servers instead of peer-to-peer, NAT incompatibilities are less of an issue. So they kind of gave us some answers, but very vague ones. Well, that's the Q&A on the matchmaking system, so there you have it, their official answers. Although, they're pretty generic answers that don't go into much detail about how the system actually works. Like, we have no idea how this judges you based on skill. Do you get more points for surviving? Do you get less points for dying? Or do you get more points for long chases? And what about killers? Do they get points based off sacrifice and how long they delay the game or how fast they win the game? If you win the game super fast as killer, do you get less points than if you draw it out and make it like a 15-minute game but still win? There's a lot of questions that we do not have the answers to yet, so hopefully soon they tell us how the system actually ranks you on skill, because from what we've seen so far, it does a pretty bad job at skill ranking people. Because if it was actually good at rating people's skill, then we would have more balanced gameplay. But so far there's a lot of games that are, some of them are balanced, but there's a lot of them that are also very unbalanced, where we're getting very new survivors going against experienced killers and experienced survivors going against noob killers. So hopefully they fix things soon, but anyways, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below and your thoughts on the matchmaking system, or feel free to share your experiences with the new matchmaking system. And remember to subscribe for more Dead by Daylight content, and like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see ya next time.